If you're in cybersecurity, you have absolutely heard the acronym CISSP. It's one of those things, right? It's talked about like it's a golden ticket, the key to unlocking senior roles and one of the most brutal exams in our industry. So, what is it, really? And is it actually worth all the hype? Let's crack this thing open.
You know what? Let's just start with the result. This is a real quote from someone right after they passed. This isn't just about adding another certification to your profile. It's about becoming a magnet for recruiters. And that power, that's what we're going to unpack right now.
So, what makes it such a big deal? Why do people call the CISSP the gold standard? Well, it's because it's about so much more than just knowing technical stuff. It proves you have this deep, complete understanding of the entire security world. Now pay attention to those two words right there, technical and managerial. That's the secret sauce. This cert isn't for the person just starting out. It's for the professional who can not only set up the security controls, but can also walk into a boardroom and explain the business risk of not having them. That's a whole different level. And you don't get that kind of knowledge just from reading a book. You have to earn it in the trenches. Which brings us to this big number 5. You need 5 full years of paid professional, hands-on experience just to be eligible. See, it's not a starting line. It's a validation that you've already put in the work, and that's exactly why it carries so much weight. So what kind of experience are we talking about? This is where that classic saying comes in, and if you've looked into the CISSP, you've heard it. It's a mile wide and an inch deep. And this chart really gives you a feel for that mile-wide view. Look at this. There are 8 completely different domains you have to master. The biggest piece of the pie is security and risk management. That's kind of the philosophical core. But then you've got everything else, from the nitty-gritty of network protocols and cryptography all the way up to high-level stuff like identity strategy and secure coding. You literally have to know a little bit about, well, everything. I mean, seriously, one day you could be studying complex crypto models, and the very next day you're diving into international privacy laws. It forces you to see the connections between all these different parts of security, and that's a skill that is incredibly valuable. Let's make this super practical. A huge concept is protecting data no matter where it is. So this CISSP makes sure you know the difference between data at rest, a file just sitting on a server, which you'd protect with encryption, and data in motion, like an email zipping across the internet, protected with something like a VPN. You have to see the whole life cycle to really get it. And let's be clear, this exam isn't stuck in the 90s. It tests you on modern, critical ideas like zero trust. The old way was like a castle with a moat. If you're inside the walls, you're trusted. Zero trust throws that all out. It says, we trust no one, period. Every single action has to be verified. This is where security is going, and the CSSP is already there.
Okay, so you've put in the years, you've studied all 8 domains, and now you have to face the final boss, the exam itself. And believe me, this isn't your average test.
So, what's the deal with this exam? It's not like you just sit down and answer 150 questions that are the same for everybody. Oh no, it's much, much smarter than that.
All right, here are the vital stats. It's a computerized adaptive test, or CAT for short, and we'll get into what that means in a sec. It can be as short as 100 questions or as long as 150. You get 3 hours, and that magic number you're shooting for is 700 out of 1,000.
Now here's where it gets wild. The test is literally adapting to you as you take it. It gives you a question, you get it right. The next one gets a little harder. You get it wrong. The next one gets a little easier. The whole time, this algorithm is zeroing in on your exact skill level, trying to find questions that you have a 50-50 shot at. The test just stops the second the computer is 95% sure whether you're above or below that passing line. This is a massive point of anxiety for people, so let's just clear this up. If your test shuts off at question 100, it means one of 2 things. You were either crushing it or you were getting crushed. The algorithm figured you out fast. But if you go all the way to 150 questions, it just means you were riding that line. You were close. The test was giving you every single chance to prove you know your stuff. So going the distance is not a bad sign. Phew, okay. The experience requirement, the 8 domains, that insane adaptive exam, it sounds like a nightmare. So why? Why do thousands of people put themselves through this every year? What's the real reward here? Let's go right back to the real world. A salary jump from 40K to over 90K. We're not talking about a small cost of living raise. For a lot of people, getting their CISSP is single-handedly the best financial move they can make for their career. So here's the bottom line. The CISSP acts like a master key. It just unlocks doors that were locked before. Your LinkedIn profile starts buzzing, you suddenly qualify for those senior-level government jobs. It's a global stamp of approval that tells the world you operate at a higher level. But, the money and the jobs, that's actually not the whole story. There's one more thing, a final, crucial transformation that happens. It's about how the CISSP completely changes the way you think. And this, right here, is the most important thing to understand. This certification forces you to level up, to stop thinking like a technician who just implements solutions, and start thinking like a manager who has to manage risk for the entire business.
This example just nails it. A technician sees an unlocked wiring closet and their first instinct is, let's put the fanciest biometric lock on it. But the person with a CISSP mindset asks different questions. What's actually in there? What's the real risk? What's the cheapest way to solve this problem effectively? And a lot of the time, a simple padlock is the right business answer, even if it's not the coolest technical one.
And really, that's what this is all about. The CISSP is more than just an exam. It's a turning point. It's a challenge to move beyond just configuring systems and to start thinking about how security supports the entire mission of an organization. It's the step you take to go from simply doing security to actually leading it.